Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Traders Academy. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the trade line or trend line, whatever you want to call it. Um, my trend line is the 9 EMA. Now, a lot of traders, they use the 8 EMA, 7 EMA, 13 EMA. It's just personal preference. I prefer the 9 EMA. You hear me talk a lot about whenever I'm alerting sometimes about a trend line, VWAP cross. And so we're going to get into that a little bit today. But before that, I wanted to go over on how I make a trade in pre-market sometimes. If there is a stock that is gapping up big already in pre-market, and let's just say it already had a big run early in the morning, like at 4 a.m. Eastern Time or 5 a.m. Eastern Time. And when I come back, and start my day around 7 a.m. Eastern Time, you don't just want to go into that stock because just because it was pushing up doesn't mean it's going to continue higher. So what I like to do, and I remember I use only the 3-minute charts, but so what I like to do is on my 3-minute chart, I have my VWAP, purple line, and the trend line, the green line. I come in, this is on BBGI, and this was on the 3rd of November. So this stock was gapping up on earnings. And it pushed up, came down, started to consolidate a little bit. You see a little doji there, little indecision. And but you see this trend line, right? It's rushing up to catch to this VWAP. So after I seen this little candle here, and of course, we had a catalyst, and so I seen this little candle, trend line's catching up. So I decided to take a position right in this area. And I said, well, if I'm wrong, I'll stop out either when it breaks this trend line or when it breaks this support level, whichever one happens to happen. I mean, I was expecting this trend line to be right at this support level or higher before I got stopped out. So anyway, I'm using this support area right here. You see this candle came down, and then this candle came down and put a low here of 165. Then this candle put a low again of 165. So basically using 165 as the support zone. So stop around 160. And remember, stops don't work in pre-market, so you have to use mental stops and actually execute the sell, if it hits to that point level. So anyway, I entered here around 174, I believe. The stock pushed up, trend line catches up with VWAP, crosses over. This is a good profit zone after it breaks that prior high, the prior pre-market high. So a good profit zone right in this area. We're also at the $2 level, high of 215. So I always want to take profits, when you break a prior high or when you're approaching, a resistance area, which, $2 level, I believe, was a resistance area on that stock. So take my first profits. Stock comes down, consolidates. VWAP should act as support, and you also have this prior high area right here, right? So, if you want to, you can draw a line right in this area, put your little line there, and you can see it held. It held. It lined up with VWAP, and it held that prior resistance becomes support. So now stock pushes back up, makes new pre-market highs, takes some more profit here. Another little pullback, little consolidation. And also, if you miss this first entry, which you could have entered anywhere, between here, or here. But if you miss it, you wait for the next pullback, identify support zone, which this prior high well, should act as support if the stock is strong, and I also have VWAP there, so you got two indicators telling you there's possible support there. So you could enter right here on this consolidation, stop out if it breaks below VWAP, right? So now you come back up, and have a little pullback again, holding VWAP, and it tries to push up again, and it cannot do it. Once it breaks VWAP and this trend line breaks VWAP to the downside, I'm out. I get out with whatever I have left on there, because I'm going to expect more downside after that. But so yeah, and like I said, I trade mostly with 3-minute in pre-market. If a stock comes out with a fresh catalyst, like I don't know, fresh earnings, news about anything, a contract or whatever, I do tend to go to the 1-minute because it will give, I can read price action, faster. But with the 1-minute, you got to be careful because, like I said, like here, 1 minute, you can see pushes up, So I don't like to enter on that first two candles unless the news is really great, right? If the news is really great, then yeah, I'm gonna enter, and that brings me to another trade. But yeah, that's how I use the 9 EMA or the trend line. EMAs tend to react faster than simple moving averages. I do not use simple moving averages in the intraday charts, only on the daily chart. Let's see, let's go to the daily chart. Now here, I will use the simple moving averages, and I also use the 9 EMA, which is the trend line for my daily chart. But let's look at MOGO. Let's see. So this stock, was from Friday morning, Friday the 6th, November the 6th. So this stock, let's go to the 1 minute real quick. So this stock here, it had value. I seen some volume on it around pre-market, around 7:32, and I quickly searched for news on it and seen that it had announced that it was now supporting Apple Pay, Google Pay, and Samsung Pay. The main thing that caught my eye on that headline was Apple, Google, and Samsung. So I said, I'm going to take a position on this. And I had already seen it, getting some volume here. And it, pushed up. And this is on the 1 minute chart, and I'm just looking at it and see what it's doing. And I was like, man, this looks really good. And then this candle right here, you can see it tried to sell off. Let me zoom in here. This candle right here, you can see it tried to sell off, come down, and it got bought right back up. So I had to take a position. I said, it's worth a shot. It's worth the risk, And I said, well, now my trend line on the 1 minute, I do pay much attention to it. So what I did, as I was looking at it, I said, well, I'm going to look at my 3 minute and see what it looks like, right? So I went and looked at my 3 minute. It's right around, right around this area. So my trend line was right here, around 142, somewhere around there. So I was like, it's worth a shot, So I took the risk, right? I took the risk, and I position size accordingly. You always hear me say that. So I said, well, I mean, the prior close was around 134, I believe. So I said, well, I can either stop out right here, on this trend line, or I can stop out on the prior close. I chose to stop out somewhere right in here, around 140. And I entered. I was risking about 30 cents and took my position. The stock comes up, makes a pre-market high of 190. I was in around 170s. Let me look at that. See, yeah, around 170s. And so, take first profit right around there. I believe on this one I missed my first profit right here, and I was a little bummed because it pulled back, and I was like, But then, it never broke this trend line, so I was holding, I was just chopping around, and of course, then it comes up, pushes up, makes another new high of $2, then 204. Take some profits in that area, consolidates, makes another high of 222. You can take some more profits there. And if you're not quick enough, you can take some more profits on this candle, high of 221. Anywhere along in here, you can take some profits, right? So move forward. And then, these candles right here, I don't pay much attention to these candles. That's when other brokers open up, and so you get the weird price action there that I don't pay any attention to that. So anyway, stock came up and it made high here of 273. If you haven't took profits here, you have to take some profits in this area. Anywhere up in this area would be great to take some profits off. I always say take some profits on the way up. Pre-market high 275. All along in here, you have plenty of opportunity to take some profits. Okay. And again, I just follow this. It comes down, got VWAP right here. That's my support, my support zone, which also kind of lines up with these prior highs. No, not really. It's way over here. But anyway, once this VWAP gets broken to the downside, if I have any position left on it, I will exit my position. If it doesn't, I will hold that position into open, into market open, and hopefully, I get another extension. Which usually, if the stock, is going to be strong, it usually gets you a big, gives you a big pop right at the open. But in this case, I was out, because it broke down, it broke VWAP to the downside, and then you can see after that it just again VWAP will act to support if the stock is above it. Once that stock gets below it, it will act as resistance. You can see here, tried to get up above it, couldn't do it. It got barely above it there, but couldn't do it. But again, once the market opens, I take my pre-market data off. Okay, and you can see, and then this is your trend line way down here. So, and you can see, there's nothing there. You could enter a small position in here, use the low of the day as a stop, but you're gonna get smaller profit there. And as you can see, it just never got above VWAP. And this was one of my main stocks that I was focusing on Friday morning. Of course, I had to leave early that day, but I was right here looking at this to see if I could get an opportunity here. I was looking for 240. Let's see, I think 240. Let me look at my thing. Yeah, Mogo, looking for 240 to hold. This will be volatile, adjust sizes. Yeah. So I expected a lot of volatility on this stock because, because of the float size on it and how it was gapping up, but it just sold off. It was kind of volatile in this little area right here, which at the bell everything is, but consolidated there. And so once I seen this candle here, it was I didn't expect this to hold. So follow the stock along, came back, tried to break VWAP again, couldn't do it, and there we go. Let's see. Cody, XBEV, FTSI. I think FTSI was a great one for a quick trade. Yeah, it was a quick trade. You could have entered in this area. I think it got halted around 5:30, somewhere around there. Yeah, not the best. Small caps haven't been, given a lot of good action here lately. But again, you can see stock goes below VWAP, and then the trend line always, once it gets under it, it can act as resistance as well. You can see right here, it keeps pushing it down. Consolidates, choppy action there. Um, not anything there. Uh, Traded ALTM, didn't get much out of that. APVO, APVO. Um, yeah, so APVO. Um, I'm actually gonna have that on watch again on Monday. It could just sell off, but I was in APVO, um, and the stock on Friday. Let me see APVO. I mean, we've got some good gains off that thing, but Friday was just not much there. Come on. What are you doing? Okay, there we go. So Friday, I was expecting a higher move after we broke through this high. I was like, man, it's gonna go after we break through this high, and but it just never did. I mean, didn't really give us much there. But if you go, let's see, yeah. So if you go and look on November the 4th, it was just consolidating. Then you get this trend line VWAP separation. That's your cue. I mean, stock pushes up. Let me zoom in here. Stock pushes up. You don't want to get up here because, I mean, if it doesn't go your way, you're gonna be you're gonna be in at the top, and it's just flush out. So you wait for a pullback, and you can, when you get this little pullback here, hold support. You can enter in this area using VWAP as your stop or a prior high, like right around that area. Or if you don't get this pullback, then you can get it on this next one because you see that the trend line's holding support. You got three opportunities here to get long. Of course, the best one is in this area or this one right here. But anytime you see that separation on the upside, that stock has potential. You see separation, stock moves up. Separation, stock moves up. And unfortunately, I got stopped out on this thing. And then Friday after hours, I was gone. I left, as soon as the market closed, I left to go spend some family time. And oh, excuse me. Anyway, I was looking at something. Anyway, so yeah, I went to go spend some family time, and they came out with 13D, I believe. Somebody, somebody took a big stake on it. I believe 54% stake in the stock, and it just ripped. Let's see, turn my pre-market. I believe it went to 80s. Yeah, hit a high of 83. When I noticed it, it was right around this area, and I was like, I was sick, but it's part of it. I mean, I was a bit upset because I missed it, but I mean, I followed my stop. When you're trading, you got to follow your plan. I mean, if you don't follow your plan, no matter what, I mean, it could have easily just continued to sold off here. If that PR hadn't come out, it would have never done this. So we'll just have to wait and see how it reacts Monday. But yeah, I'm gonna have it on watch. It's a bit more pricey now though, so we'll just have to see what it does. But that's kind of how I trade whenever I'm using the trend line and that VWAP. You know, you hear me say trendline VWAP cross um, a lot, and you don't you don't want to enter as soon as I alert on that. I mean, you got trendline VWAP cross here, goes up, but I mean it could easily fail. See if I can find one. Yeah, let's see. I have to go back to the. Give me just a second. HOFE, we did good on that. Okay, let's look at Riot. Let's see, 1007. That was Thursday. So yeah, this stock here, had a trend line, maybe I'll cross, but it didn't really do much. I mean, there wasn't much there, little pixels there, but it just wasn't much there. So sometimes they just don't do much. Um, let's see, like right here too. Trend lines underneath the VWAP, chops around in there, gets above it, but it just doesn't do anything. Um, so you don't want to enter just because it has a trendline VWAP cross. Ideally, what you want it to do is you want it to have the cross. Wait for a pullback, enter on that pullback if it holds VWAP, and then expect the stock to go higher. If it doesn't, you can stop out at VWAP or wherever that support zone is. Remember, you know, you want to stop out where there's a support zone, not where you want to stop out, but where there's actually a support zone, whether it be VWAP or some other support zone there, like maybe the initial morning high, prior high, anything, even a prior low where it found support, like maybe the low of day, something that, and if it lines up with another indicator, then it's better. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much how we use the trend line. Let's see, HOFV, we traded it the other day. Seriously, there we go. So this stock here is another example. Let's see, where did we enter on this? Look at my alert here. HOFE entered at 9:45 a.m. around 3:45. So yeah, I believe I entered on this candle right here around 3:45 on $3.45, and we had this little push in the morning, and it pulled back, and then it got bought right back up, and I noticed this trend line, catching up, and no, it was on this candle where my entry was right in this area, and I was expecting this trendline VWAP cross, and I believe the let me see if I'm correct. Fibs. Let me zoom in a little bit. So yeah. So at the time when I entered in this area, we had a 38.2 fib around 313, 314 area, and you had the trend line around the $3 area. So I got long at 345, and I was risking right around this area, right around the $3 area, right? So I was risking 45 cents, but I mean, when I do that, I always position size accordingly. So I reduce my position so that if I do get stopped out at $3 area, I'm still not going to lose. My losses are the same pretty much on every trade because I adjust my position accordingly. That's why I always say adjust your position size, because you don't want. I mean, just because you're risking 45 cents doesn't mean you have to lose double the amount if you normally risk 20 cents or I don't know, 15 cents or whatever. Like I said, you have to put your stop where it belongs, not where you want it to be. So yeah, let me take these fibs off. So I enter that position there and take some profits at 365 to reduce my risk. It says HOFE, took some profits 365 at 846. I mean 846, wait a minute, that's not right. At 946, I'm sorry, 946. So yeah, I took some profits right in here on this candle pretty quickly just to reduce my size, because like I said, small caps haven't been really performing very well. So I was trying to take some profits just in case it failed and we didn't get the crossover, but we did. We got an increase in volume here, and stock pushed higher, and I said HOFE, my next take profit was going to be the high of day area. And let's see, at 952, HOFE, 947, I mean. HOFE testing of the day, HOFE took more profits at $4.02 at 952. So, in this candle right here, I took more profits at $4.02. Then it went on to make a new high at $4.55. Took more profits at $4.90, and then it got halted. And it got halted at $5.87. And I mean, this was a great trade, really, And I waited for the halt, and I said, I would take more profits. I saw some more after the halt. We were up, and I see I have a typo on my alert there. It says we are up 705 on this. I'm at 70%. Didn't catch that, or I would have corrected it. But yeah, I took some profits at 550 when the stock opened back up. And I said if we can get a low value pullback to around $5, I will add. But we did not. I mean, it kind of pulled back with heavy volume there, and I was like, I don't know. So, and I could have entered right here. I should have, should have entered another position there, but I didn't, and made a new high there. And anyway, you know, yeah, I said if volume too high on that pullback, and then I said if the trade line doesn't hold, I will bail out. And I said I will use the trend line to stop out on the 3-minute chart. Short V testing high day, new high day, 645. And so I took more profits at 640 for 85% gain. HOFV selling off hard. Please take some profits if you have any. Do not get stuck holding this, in my opinion. And so yeah, so that alert, that last alert was at 1028. Maybe on this candle, yeah, on this candle right here. So, and after that, you can see it just sold off. So, I was out of my position, and that was it. I mean, it's once that stock gets below VWAP, that trend line breaks VWAP and goes to the downside, it just pushes it down. I hope this video helps you, to see what, kind of what I see when I'm trading. I try to alert as fast as I can. Of course, sometimes, the time I write the alert, and if the stock is, really volatile, it, push up, and it'll be further up than where I entered. But always position size accordingly, and you shouldn't have big losses. I mean, you want your losses to be all about the same, in the same range, and your wins, your wins will be all over the place, because sometimes you'll win a little bit, sometimes you'll win a little bit more, sometimes you'll win big, So, but your losses should always be the same. Now with options, a little bit different, because if you have a small account, playing options, it can hurt you if you take too much size and the trade doesn't go your way. But that is it. I think I done went about 30 minutes or so on this, so didn't really expect to make it that long of a video, but I hope this helps you with the trend line. And like I said, I only use a 3-minute chart for day trading with the trend line and VWAP. I do reference, the 15-minute. I very seldom look at the 5-minute, but I do reference the 15-minute a lot, to see. But and the daily chart. I have to look at the daily. That's where I find, prior resistance and support. And as you can see, there's not much here on this stock. I mean, but intraday, even if you have resistance points and support areas, intraday, once it puts in a high, you can use that, like this high right here. This would be your initial morning high. Then you can use that. If the stock is strong, it should be support here. So let's just say, you missed this entry, right? Let's go back. Let's just say you missed this entry where I entered. I'm going to draw a line on this initial morning high right there. So you missed this entry, right? Stock pushes. And you don't ever want to, get FOMO and just, catch it right here, and then the stock sells off, and you done lost a huge amount of money because you didn't adjust your position, you didn't have a proper stop, whatever. So what you do is you wait. You wait. You see, you got something here. You got a pattern here that's trend line is going to cross this VWAP, and if it does, and it gets an extension, the stock should move higher. So what you do is you wait. Stock opens up, and it pulled back. You see, it pulled back. Made a low 417. You got your line right here, right? This prior high was 391. So $4 area, let's just say $4 area, made a low 417. This, and not only that, you have two other indicators there telling you that there's possible support. You got VWAP sitting at 379. You got the trend line sitting at 370. So you can do one or two things. You can enter your position and use the $4 area as your stop. So you want to put your stop around 390 or 395. You don't want to put it at 4 because that's where the prior resistance is, and it could touch 4 or 399 and stop you out. And then they continue higher. So you can either put your stop at the use $4 as your support zone, or use the trend line as your support zone. And you enter the trade. Let's say you enter at 420 or I don't know 425. You're risking 25 cents, but you risk 25 cents, and then the stock goes and makes a new high of 489, and you're in at 425. You take some profits. You done made about 50 cents there. So you're risking 25 cents to make 50 cents. That's good risk reward. And the stock continues higher, and it goes to 587. Take second profits anywhere in this area. Now you done made over $1. So you're risking 25 cents to make over $1. So you see, just because you miss it doesn't mean you won't get another opportunity. And even let's just say you missed this shot. Now it pushes up. Stock halts. And it's tricky after a halt. But, now this was heavy value. Even I wanted to add, and then I decided not to because I didn't want to risk giving back my profits. But this is a pretty, of course, hindsight's 2020, but this is a pretty good area to enter. You can see the volume here just kind of slowed after that, and you got trendline holding on all these candles. You can enter here, or even here, but you got to be quick taking your profits. And always take profits, always, because you never know if the stock is going to do this afterwards. And if you let it ride up here, and you were like, I'm not going to take profits, I'm going to hold on a little bit longer, I might get a little bit more, and you don't take your profits, and then the stock does this, and now you're like, oh man, I'm even, or I'm at a little loss. I'm just going to keep holding. Stock was so strong this morning, and it may hold support here and then push higher. Well, then it doesn't hold support, breaks VWAP, and then you're like, well, it might hold support here, and so you hold on and you hold on to here, and you see it kind of holding here and then pushing up, and you're like, yay, it's holding held support. It's going to break VWAP again, go higher. Guess what? Nope, VWAP was resistance now, and it just continues lower and lower and lower. You can't keep breaking your stops. You got to have, you got to be disciplined and stop out where you plan to stop out originally. Otherwise, you'll end up holding the stock and you'll be way down here. But yeah, so anyway, that is it. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope it helps. It helps you in any way. I'm not very good at making videos. But I'm doing this because I want people to learn how to do this. So if you have any questions, and just ask it in the comments, and or you can always message me or post it on Facebook. Any questions you have on our Facebook group, and I promise I'll get better at this. So have a good day, and let's see if we can make some profits this week. Bye.